Welcome to this edition of the People's Playbook Podcast. I have to tell you, I'm pretty excited today because we have Domenic Primucci as our guest, who is the president of Pizza Nova. He's been at the helm for a long time now, and he's led Pizza Nova to be one of Canada's most recognized family-founded restaurants in more than 3 decades, quite frankly. Under his leadership, Pizza Nova has grown consistently. That's a key word, consistently. But the big thing I love about the brand is they're community focused. They give back to the community. And Domenic is a big believer in leave more on the table than you take. And I think that's probably why he's been so successful in his franchise success. And with that, we'll get to the conversation. Domenic, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason. I'm excited to be on the show.
So Domenic, let's get right into it. So Pizza Nova, it's a household name. It is in all communities right now. It's a household name, and you started leading the at the helm in 1990.
In the 90s.
19 what?
In the 90s sometime.
In the 90s. How has your leadership style evolved without losing the values that actually built the brand?
I think change is imminent. You have to consistently understand that you need to change, and you need to change with the times, whatever case it may be. I mean, whether it's in leadership and innovation or whatever you do. However, if you don't accept that, then you'll stay behind and you won't be able to look at different initiatives from employee relationship or franchisee relationship. I think all these things you have to realize that we do things always to get better, right? So if you don't have that open mind to get better, then you won't change. Fast forward, or you said the 90s, but I'm fast forwarding to COVID. But I mean, I'm looking back at COVID for really, and I hate to always reference COVID. However, that changed everything. It changed the way we led. So, I mean, you just have to find the ways that where you can help the people that you're leading on an everyday basis, whatever the case may be. Like, I mean, Jason, me and you can have a different relationship than somebody else. It's because we're different people. We're the dynamics. This is what I even speak with my district managers on the road with the franchisees. I mean, one franchisee to the next franchisee, they're totally different people. You have to manage them differently, and you have to be able to be open to that.
I like the saying, if we manage and lead everybody the same way, it's like giving everybody the same size of shoe. It doesn't make sense.
Definitely. And we follow our core values. I mean, core values is a big thing. And as long as core values are there for a reason. They're not there just to put up on a wall and nobody reads it. No, we lead by those values. And that's what's going to guide us making the decisions that what Pizza Nova is about in our case.
Yeah, it's nice to have those values too, because when you come to crunch time or you're looking at a decision that's hard to make, you can just kind of look on the wall and look on in each of your phones and see those core values and say, okay, so based on what we said we were going to do, how are we going to make this decision and move forward?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Domenic, it's a family founded business, and those businesses are sometimes a little bit of a different dynamic to move around and lead and kind of make sure everybody's happy. How do you honor the legacy while still pushing innovation forward?
It's a great question. I think legacy has to be basically like an everyday standard type of thing. We built this company, or my father, my family built this company believing that everyone deserves a great, honest, good pizza type of thing. So with, love and care and so on and so forth. However, we have to continue to believe in that and continue to honor that legacy and continue to build it, because that laid the foundation for us moving forward to today. So that foundation is important. If you don't have a foundation in anything you do, it's not just in my world, but in every world they're out there, you got to have a strong foundation. And in our world, for argument's sake, our foundation, which was set by the family earlier on, not necessarily when I was around, dough, in our case, pizza, dough, sauce, and cheese. Those are the 3 ingredients that basically are on every single order that we fulfill. So that is the standard. That's where we need to base. And then innovation obviously has to be continue to find out, like I just said about leading and changing and seeing, there are changing tastes in this world. The community wants different things. Today, with the explosion of the Food Network and so on and so forth on TV, and then on Instagram now, you're seeing all these everybody's showing pictures of food and everything. So people are a little bit more well educated on the food as well. They want to try something different. It's not always the standard. So you got to be able to look at different things and different tastes. Now, we don't want, we never really chase the trends. I always say, yeah, definitely there are trendy things that happen out there, but let's look at things that we think are more of a shift in the market. If there's a shift in the market, well, then maybe we need to jump on this and say, like, how do we do this? Like, for example, many years ago, we jumped on, the shift in the market was, people wanted different styles of dough, like for intolerance. I mean, we have gluten-free dough that we've had for over 20 years, and it's so it wasn't a trend. It was just something that the community or the customers or our guests wanted, something that would, because of health reasons or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, for sure. There's one thing that you guys always stick to, I find, is you listen to the guest. You listen to the guests, and even the stuff that I've done with you, Dominic, you're always that guest and that franchisee are always at the forefront, and it's evident in everything you talk about and everything you do. You don't. I've heard this so many times. In my personal opinion, the best pizza sauce around is Pizza Nova. Like, and it's so consistent all the time. You never ever, you never ever sway from that sauce because of your consistent values and kind of how you do things, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, see, those are the standards, right? And then you can innovate from there.
Franchise systems live or die by alignment, and we're kind of in that conversation about alignment right now. So, how do you keep culture strong across so many locations? How do you get that consistency? Because you're all about alignment and consistency, but how do you make that message resonate when you have so many locations?
I think the core values is one thing where we just kind of mentioned, is that core values helps us guide our in making our decisions. So in everything that we do, when we're and this is, what, I say, and we talk about, even with my operations teams and so on and so forth, when we are trying to teach something or explain something, try to tie it back to a core value, because what that'll do is it keeps it top of mind. And what also is that we're learning every day, and we're trying to get better every day. So that culture of trying to always improve is always there. You have to live it daily. If you don't live it daily, then it gets lost. And, it's a slippery slope. It's going to go away eventually. So unless we keep it top of mind all the time, then it continues to live and continues to be that culture who you are. And our culture really is about, we spend a lot of time with our franchisees, as there's questions about franchisees. And we have district managers on the road every day. It's not about seeing a franchisee once every month. It's getting out there every week, trying to see as many as possible, speaking with them, speaking with their staff if they're not there. It's connecting, right? If you don't connect, then we lose track. And we also have many meetings throughout the year. And now we've kind of morphed them into more workshops. So they're invited to come every so often. We have a workshop on whatever the topic may be. Could be from food costs, could be from guest experience, could be app functionality, could be whatever the case is. But it's more, business, but it's getting together and understanding and listening to what they say, and vice versa, because communication has got to be a two-way street here. And what happens is you keeping that alignment, that we're moving together.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
Yeah, no, it did absolutely. Because you said some key things in there and you said them multiple times, which I liked. You talked about listening, you talked about connecting, and you talked about communicating. And I think actually those three things together actually build trust. Right. So when we listen more, and I like to say, if we listen to understand, not just listen to hear, and I'm listening to you, but I'm walking to my car as I'm listening to you, right? Listening to understand, communicating more, and connecting. And then you actually leave somebody with a feeling. And one of my favorite kind of principles about leadership and culture is people will always remember how you made them feel. They won't always remember what you said. They won't always remember, the analytics or the data that you kind of, you know, said to them along the way, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And even when you talk about your district managers going in and, the franchisee's not there, but hey, let's make sure we talk to the staff. Let's make sure we connect with them. That's absolutely huge in my opinion.
Yes. Well, it's important, right? I mean, they're the front line. Everybody, those are all the frontline workers, and we need to understand, where they are. I mean, sometimes they may be in a great place or may not be in a great place, or can be very busy or not very busy. And you also find out things from everybody, right? I mean, the old adage is, work the front line, you'll find out how difficult some things are, and sometimes upper echelon of a company not understand what's going on at the front line. That's when things get sometimes mistakes are made because some things do not flow properly on the front line if for whatever reason.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about frontline and just performance in general. So, in your opinion, Dominic, what separates operators who can simply run the store from the leaders who actually build winning teams along the way?
And I think really the operators who run the stores are operators and they're managing the tasks at hand. They're doing what needs to be done. A leader will train and show and develop their staff and help. This way they don't have to operate that in particular task and continue to develop those people. And that's what makes the difference from a great operator to one that kicks it out of the park every day, and they're different. So it's making their staff feel good, valued. And in the end, it creates consistency. It creates loyalty. Assuming loyalty too is right. I mean, and then kind of comes out when the guests walk in the door because everybody's on the same team.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that. So, in hospitality, customers often feel culture instantly, right? So, what internal habits do you think create that external experience? What internally do you have to do to make sure that external experience is phenomenal?
Again, our core values, our service, we have a service strategy that we built that, we try to train and teach every single day. However, at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. It's making the customer feel good. The old adage is treat people or treat others as you wanted to be treated, right? And if you treat somebody with care and understanding, you know what? That's all they're asking for. They're gonna love you. They're gonna love that aspect. I mean, yesterday, I got an email from our call center that we had a couple outstanding responses from our guests about a couple of our calls that had transpired with, how our order operator was taking the order, and they were just so fantastic that they've never had that type of exceptional experience before. I said, "Well, send me the call. I'd like to hear it." And you know what? Some of it wasn't even about pizza. It was just genuine conversation. It's obviously it's always about the pizza at the end of the day because you're selling. However, the customer felt so good, and sometimes it doesn't take a lot. It just takes a little bit of a thank you, a please, you're welcome, comfort them, and sometimes that's all you need to the customer to experience. So going back to treat people the way you want to be treated, it's pretty well, really, it's a simple thing. I think sometimes we overthink things like that and we put all these strategies in and so on and so forth. But at the front line, customers just want to see a smile. They want to see that, you know, you're interested in them and you want to and thank them for their business, right?
Yeah. Thank yous are free. Thank yous cost nothing, right? They cost nothing and it's amazing. Curious, does that call center employee know that you actually listen to his or her?
I think so because I sent back a message to ask them to send my message. So
Wow,
I'm
that's
sure I'm
awesome.
sure they did.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I love when I hear those kind of stories because I believe culture is contagious. And when, all of a sudden, the top person in the company is saying, "Hey, by the way, I heard your call," like that's that's phenomenal just to see. I could just imagine when they opened up that email and said, "Are you kidding me?" Right? Like that's phenomenal. Dom, after decades of leadership, what is the people lesson that took you longest to truly learn?
Listen, pretty simple. I think at the beginning, when you're young and hungry, you kinda do things and your listening skills are not as sharp as you get older, and you start to listen more, and it's not always about talking but it's also listening, and because sometimes, well, it's not sometimes, I always say I don't know it all. I mean, it's at the end of the day, I don't know it all, so it's good to listen to how somebody or not even feels, but even understanding an ops procedure or something. Listen to see what they have to say, see their reasoning behind it, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I remember being a young Jason Taylor in my low 20s, let's say, and just to your point, I thought I was listening, but I wasn't. I was already thinking of what I'm gonna say to the person before they even finish their statement. I was thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, this is not how it is," right? But and then you look back, and now I'm 54 now, and you just look back at some of those things you did in when you're starting your career, and sometimes you try not to cringe because you're just like, I can't believe I said it like that, or I can't believe I dismissed it as soon as I did. But I guess that's, the old saying, right? We learn a lot along the way, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't listen properly, you're going to if someone's explaining something to you to do a task or whatever the case is, right? And you don't understand the whole thing, and you all of a sudden you just go, okay, perfect, I'll go out and do it.
Yeah.
And you come back and say, "This is what I did." Well, they'll say, "Well, that's not what I asked you.
Yeah.
I never asked you for this. What is all this?"
It
Right?
I could just see you as a younger man and your father saying something to you about the brand and whatnot, and as all young men we do sometimes, we just think, "Why is he thinking this?" or "Why is this happening?" But they got to where they were for a reason. They were all pretty smart. One of my favorite sayings is, Every year I get older, my parents become a year smarter."
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
right.
true.
We
It's
all
true.
do. We all
Yeah.
do.
Exactly.
That's it. We learn every day.
Dom, how many well, I'll put it to you this way. Many businesses actually chase scale, and as part of that, they lose kind of the soul of the company. So how do you protect both at Pizza Nova? Because you're a growing brand. I assume if I said to you, "Are you gonna still grow?" You wouldn't say no. You wouldn't say, "Jason, I'm good where I'm at right now. We're done." I know you're constantly growing. So how do you protect the soul of the company and just all those values that you keep talking about in the core values, which I love, from just scaling at the same time?
That's a question that is asked to me many, many times, in different ways. So a lot of times I get, well, how many stores are you going to open this year or next year or whatever the case is? And I always answer it. I said, I don't have a number. And the reason why I don't have a number is because we want to ensure when we open a store or with the new franchisee, we want to ensure that that franchisee is successful first and foremost. I mean, I can go out and open 25 locations tomorrow. I mean, it's very easy to find real estate. You're going to overpay for it, but that's a whole another topic or another podcast. But and then you're going to put in 25 new franchisees, and 90% of them are probably going to fail because your target, your focus is on scaling up and scaling up as quickly as possible. So that's not the outcome that I want. The outcome that we want is more about ensuring that our franchisees are successful. So we're going to exhaust all avenues and make sure that franchisee is successful in that location. And as part of that, what happens is you organically grow because now all of a sudden that franchisee is doing well, is able to do the sales, have great employees, and then those employees will see that and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, you know what? Maybe I want a Pizza Nova, or maybe or whatever the case is." Because our actual goal is not about opening 25 stores, it's about to be the best that we can be every single day. We wanna be the best pizza. We wanna give the best experience. We wanna give the great place for you to start your career. As I just said, we have a lot of franchisees that have come through the system. We'd rather grow, I say, a little slower than and grow. I don't know if the terminology is right, but it's right for us, and don't just grow for the sake of growing. I don't believe because you can grow within your system. each location can grow their sales, so we're growing. So it's not always about scale in locations. However, we still do, open few locations every year or whatever the case may be. I mean, but it's more of a controlled growth that we can sustain and continue to build a great company with great foundation to last. I mean, we've been around since 1963. It's 63 years this year. So
That's
it,
crazy.
yeah,
That's absolutely that's that, and I'm saying this in a positive way. That's absurd. Like it's amazing. It's not a lot of people can say that statement that you just said, right? And it's funny when you talk about growth. I'll bet you there is, and I'll because I'm in the business, Dominic, and I know this business well. There's certain brands that actually say, hey, they're willing to give us a check. Let's just take it and go from there. It sounds like you're the complete opposite. You're like, "Hey, I can get the growth through same store sales. I can get the growth through other ways. I want the right people." And that's why, and for those listening today, I can tell you, I've been at company events for Pizza Nova, and it feels like a family. It feels very much like a family. And when you look around the room, there's so many side conversations going on and so much laughter and so much inside jokes that you can tell they've been together for years and whatnot. It's a really, really cool thing that you built. You and the team have built.
yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's and that's all done organically, right? I mean, yeah, family is a big thing for us because that's we feel that everybody needs to be treated as well as, I mean, whether it's the person that's taking an order on the call center, whether it's the person washing the dishes, or whether it's the president of the company, or everybody in between. We're all valued at what we do every single day.
Let's talk about young leaders for a second, Dom, because they're the ones entering the restaurant industry right now. So, what do younger leaders entering the industry often underestimate about leading people?
Hmm. Very good question.
Yeah, it's a hard one, I know.
Yeah. One thing is, how do young people underestimate, you said, right? First and foremost, everybody's watching at all times. So I think that sometimes they take for granted that people are just not watching and seeing what's happening, how you handle things, your body language, your how you speak to people, how you speak to somebody that is at the same level as you, above you or below you. I mean, it's those how those conversations go. I think everybody really, really sees that, and I think that they should own up to their mistakes.
Hard sometimes when you're young.
Yeah, it is, but you know what? I when somebody owns up to their mistake, they come into my office and say, "Listen, I'm sorry, but this happened, and my mistake, my whatever. It's on me, or whatever the case is." You know what? I don't get upset. I'm like, "Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know. Hopefully, you learn from it. Yeah, it was your job to do that. Whatever the case may be, because that tells me that somebody is first and foremost honest, and secondly that really values their job, values what people think of them. What's the I'm trying to figure out the word, but it
Yeah, no,
doesn't.
I know exactly where you're going with this. It's
So
a huge driver of culture for sure.
yeah, you touched upon trust earlier, and I think trust is built, and I think, yeah, sometimes young people come in and they want respect right away. You got to build it. You got to build that trust. Respect doesn't come unless you build it, and it's up to you to build it, nobody else, and nobody's gonna build that trust for you. So if you come in and you start to respect the people around you, then you'll start to earn that trust. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I often comment on people having trust bank accounts, and you have to make sure there's more deposits than withdrawals. You got to make sure that there's some trust built up in there, so they want to do business with you or they want to be around you and whatnot, right? So that's first thing. The other thing that you said that was really cool was you talked about everybody's watching, and I'm a huge advocate that leaders, as a leader, you're always on stage and you can't be part of the chaos. You can't be part of the chaos. The other thing you said that resonated with me was when somebody makes a mistake or they're just honest about it. I actually love it when a leader says, I don't know. You see some people that just do the hubba hubbadas and they're trying to do this dance and pretend that they know because they're the leader, but it's so authentic and it shows so much humility when the leader actually says, I actually don't know that. I can find out for you, but I don't know it personally, right? I just think I actually think it gives that leader more power than they ever even thought they had in the first place.
Yeah, be humble.
Yeah. Be humble. Be humble. Dominic, I have two more questions for you, and then because you've been incredibly generous with your time, and then I'm going to let you get back to your day. One of the questions is when challenges hit, and they often do, how do you personally stay steady and knowing that you're always on stage and you can't be part of that chaos? How do you stay steady so the team can stay focused? A brilliant one is probably COVID. Like
Yeah.
that's a massive challenge that the industry faced, right? So how do you stay steady so everybody else kind of stays focused on what they should be doing?
That's a difficult question because I think we do this, even though we do this on a daily basis, it's hard to say exactly what it is in a sense. I think it's about really sitting back and understanding the situation and understanding it from different views, not just your view, because your view is one way. If you hear a couple other people's views on whatever it may be, whatever the challenge is so understanding where the group is at and then figuring out what the solution is. Because you have to figure out a solution. You know, you're the leader. They're looking for you for a solution. And you know, you just said it. Sometimes you're gonna say, I don't know. Let me get back to you. Let me think about this. Give me some time. I've never experienced this, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, so then you can think about what the next steps are. However, you need to come to some sort of solution, or you can work on a solution with the person or whatever the challenge is with the team, and work together to come out to be a better thing for the company. At the end of the day, it's what's going to make the company prevail, and you have to look. You have to almost sometimes take that personal side out of it when it comes to a company challenge. I mean, if it's an employee challenge, that's a totally different thing, right? But when it's a corporate challenge out there, I think it's putting the team together and saying, this is a tough thing. Well, let's figure this out and let's move forward. Right? Once you move forward, this is what we do. You know, I've said this also many times, and for argument's sake, in my SLT meetings, like the senior leadership team, said, you know what? Obviously, we've had to discuss some sort of sensitive stuff as well. And when you discuss that, it's the four walls is our room. It doesn't go outside these four walls. It's our, in a sports analogy, our locker room, if you will. And let's come up with a solution that's going to help whatever the challenge may be. And we all have to be 100%
Aligned.
aligned.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not, I have to be 100% aligned once I walk out that door.
Yep. I have to say bulletproof. There can't be a kink in the armor. We all have to say, hey, we're doing this as a team. And it's just like a hockey analogy. I may not like the system we're playing, but I'm playing it because I'm part of the locker room, right? So let's do that. Last question. So, well, let's put it this way. If your team described your leadership legacy, let's say, in one sentence, years from now, okay, what would you hope that they'd say?
It's hard to analyze your own self, but I'd say that I was an honest, fair, good person, that they've learned from me, so that whatever they took from the way I led or deal with issues or whatever, that they learn from that and value that. I think those are probably the biggest things. I'm a humble type of person, so I'm not out there trying to be, a big ego type of guy. I'm not that guy. So, I mean, hopefully that all comes through in that sense.
I think it does in spades, quite frankly. In all my interactions with you, Dominic, you are extremely humble. And just as you did today, you always leave more on the table than you take. So, with that, thank you for your time today, Dominic. I appreciate it. If you love that session and that conversation as much as I did, would love to have you join our People Playbook community in the link below.